about every fourth click it's going to go over. Oh, I entitled this Realtors and Barnyard Animals. Just go with me on this. It might be a little bit weird, but it'll make sense at the end. So just go with me. Walk with me down this path of oddities, and we'll chat about it. I was listening, it had to be a couple years ago, I got a little link on Facebook to Joel Osteen. You guys know who Joel Osteen is? He's a pastor, evangelist. And he talked about why he doesn't eat pork anymore. And I was listening to that going like, oh, that's interesting. Wow. How can I relate that to real estate? So let's chat about it. All right, next one, Kat. Pigs. All right, so pigs have a very poor digestive system. One of the things he talked about, they consume anything and everything. They dissected one hog's belly and found a tire, tin can, a license plate, one of its dead offspring. So pigs will eat whatever is in front of them. Okay? Now, one of the issues with pigs is their digestive system. What happens is a pig will eat something, and within 4 hours, whatever they ate, whatever toxicity was in that, will get absorbed into their fat and into their meat, their muscle. Their meat is what? Their muscle. I know, I'm sorry. Bacon, that's why we have bacon today, right? So, they will eat whatever's in front of them, and what they eat will go into their system, and they have a poor digestive system. So what happens is those toxicities that they took in will get saturated into their muscles and into their fat. Next one. Okay, so cows. Oh, don't they look beautiful, nice out there in the green grass? Cows are different. How many of you guys ever grow up on a farm? How many of you guys ever been around cows? So, okay, good. So you know the smell. Okay, so cows. One of the things with cows is they have a very, I don't want to say advanced, but a very productive digestive system. One of the things is cows will only eat fresh vegetation. Okay? If there is something in a field that they're eating and it's not fresh and it's not something that they would eat, they will eat around it. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I went to a farm once and there was these little cow patties, and around the cows had eaten around it. They will not eat anything that's infected, anything that they'll only eat certain items, only certain food. Most of it's going to be fresh, most of it's going to be hay, barley, things like that that are not going to be infected. Now, how many stomachs does a cow have?
4.
I wrote down 3, but it could be 4. Is it 4? All right, so 4 stomachs.
I have inside information.
You've got inside. Stephanie's got the inside track to cow's digestive. So they have 4 stomachs. Okay, so what happens if a cow does eat something that is not that healthy or not that great, it goes through all these stomachs, and all those toxicities, all those things are cleaned up, digested, and are not saturated into the muscle or into the fat of that animal because of the digestive system that it has, because it's so much more advanced. So even if it ate something bad, it still wouldn't have that negative effect because it goes through their system and cleans it up because it has 4 systems. So where a pig, it gets the toxicity goes in 4 hours, the cow, it's 24 hours. All right, Kat, let's do the next one.
It works.
We'll do, okay, pigs. So let's talk about comparing these individuals or these animals to agents. Okay, so I'm going to use the phrase pig agent. Don't get offended. Be all right with it. Just go with it. Okay, pig agent works with whomever. They're scavengers. Anyone that's breathing, they'll work with them. What's the negative thing with that? Is there something negative with that? Should you work with everybody?
The deals typically go awry and they ask you to do something that isn't in line with your standards and ethics.
Yeah, so if you work with anyone, be prepared to do anything. Does that make sense? Okay, so scavengers, somebody who's out there just working with whomever. Okay, they take on toxic clients. Toxic clients. What is a toxic client? Describe a toxic client to me. Lawyers. Okay. Oh, you said liars. You said liars. I'm sorry. I honestly thought you said lawyers. Sorry, liars. Liars. Ew, that's right. There we go. All right. Liars. Okay. What else is a toxic client? What was that? Time wasters. Okay, time wasters. People that they got nothing to do, so hey, let's hang out. All right, one more. Toxic client.
Know-it-alls.
Know-it-alls. That's actually in our 130 discussion day, the know-it-all. Because they bought a house back in 2005, so of course they know how to buy a property. Of course they know how to do this. Okay. So they take on toxic clients. Those people will take on toxic clients because they've got nothing else. It's a fragile little egg in their life, and they need to make sure and nurture that egg and help that because they've got nothing else happening. So they take on these toxic clients. Okay, next one, a pig agent. Poor systematic process. They don't know what they're doing day to day. They don't know what's happening with these clients when they're in escrow. They don't know what to do after these clients close escrow. They don't really have a system of follow-up. They don't have a system to reach out. They don't have any type of real systematic process to run their business. Just like with the pig has a poor systematic digestive system, a pig agent has a poor systematic process of working with these people. They might have the best client they're working with. And when that client either buys or sells and goes away, they have no systematic process to get more clients like that time or to work with more quality clients. Okay, next one. They pass toxicity on to others. You guys ever met an agent who is just always pissed at the world?
Yeah.
It's always rainbows and sunshine when they come to the office, right? So that's the problem, is that these toxic clients pass that toxicity on to their agent, and their agent in turn comes around suddenly going like, this market sucks, no one's buying, no one's selling, no one's doing this, no one's doing that, and everything's falling apart. So they pass that toxicity, those issues that they're having, they pass it on to others. Just like the pig, when they take that toxicity on themselves, that passes on to them. So that makes sense where I'm going with this? Okay, so let's talk about the next one, is the cow agent. Sorry once again for the label, but let's talk about the cow agent. Only in comparison with the pig, they only work with certain clients. They only work with certain clients. Now, as I look at that and I think about it, I mean, is that reasonable to sit there and say, I only want to work with certain type of clients? Do you know what your ideal client looks like? Do you know what your ideal client, when they come to an open house, do you sit there and say, you know what, this is somebody I want to work with. This is somebody I want to actually take out and actually represent. If you know what those people look like, guess what? You'll find them. Before I got married, I dated people, and I wrote in my journal. Yes, I kept a journal. It didn't have butterflies and rainbows on it. I had a puppy dog. But I wrote down what I wanted in my future wife. I wrote down characteristics of my wife, things that I wanted, things that I thought that, that I would like. And when I went on dates with girls that didn't match that criteria, I thought, well, that just doesn't really work out for what I wanted. But when I met Holly, what do you think I thought? Check, 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 check. When she met me, she's like, I can work on that, I can work with this, I can fix that, that can be changed. So that's one of the things, is like, if you know what the client looks like that you want to represent, they're out there, you'll find them. If anyone's ever thought about buying a new car and they say, I want a BMW, da-da-da-da, this is what I want. When you're driving around, what do you see everywhere? BMWs that work that. Not because they're making more of them driving around it, but because in your mind you're thinking that's what it is. So if you actually write down, this is what we're talking about today in 130, what does an ideal client look like? You'll know what they are when they come around. You'll know how to represent them, and you'll know how to reach out to them and talk to them on a certain level of professionalism. Okay. Next one, avoids toxic and infected clients. I've heard this a couple times where I've been working with this nightmare of a client for 4 months. Whose fault is that? It's the agent's fault. I'm sorry to say, but it's your fault. If you know someone was a nightmare and you're still working with them, just because, what's the fear? What's the fear if you stop working with them? They're going to go around, and next week they're going to find something else, $1 million property, and they're going to buy it, and you're going to be out that commission. That fear will keep you working with these toxic and infected clients. So be prepared. Like I said today, 1:30, we're going to chat about this, but know what these people not look like, but how these people react, how these people act. Because you might not notice it right off the bat, but after about 3 weeks to a month of working with them, if you notice that they are not buying, that they're not ready to buy, and you're pushing them, and you're pulling them to listings, and you're just trying to get them the right an offer, you're trying to get them the right an offer that's good, you got to sit there and think, I need to go find other clients. Okay, so we're going to chat about that more today at 1:30. Now here's a system. High systematic process. Just like the cow, I learned today, has 4 stomachs. I thought it was 3, but 4 stomachs. You need to have a highly systematic process in your real estate business. A friend of mine runs a warehouse, and I asked him, like, so you guys have systematic processes, right? He's like, oh, we live by them. Because what happens to a warehouse if they don't know, if this box comes in, they don't know where it goes to, what happens? Everything shuts down. The conveyor lines, the workers, everyone shuts down. Highly systematic process. If you're representing someone, and they're coming into an open house, and you set up a buyer appointment with them, and then you make sure they talk with the lender, and then you make sure they're pre-approved, and you make sure they understand what the market is, and they understand where they're going to go, and they understand that they're working with you directly, and you have a buyer, you have this system in place so that you know, number one, you're protected, but also number 2, that these individuals are going to follow that path. And if they sit there and say, you know what, I don't want to talk with a lender until I find my dream house. There's no problem with that, right? Yeah. If you say, yo, we'll talk later. Systematic process. And that's one thing, is if you feel like, I'm looking kind of shitty there. Let's sit down. I'd love to chat with you about some systems that I've seen work and some processes that I've seen work, and find out what you're doing and how you'd like to maybe improve that. Or maybe you have a fantastic system that I'd love to sit down and chat with you about. But that's the thing, it's systematic process. Because without that, anyone who comes your way, you'll work with anyone. And the problem is, like I said, you'll do anything. And the issue with that is that that's where you start getting that gray area. Okay? So next one. The cow agent is able to handle unforeseen circumstances. Do escrows fall out? Do loans not get approved? Not with Jim. Everything goes right. But do loans not get approved? Do clients a week before close of escrow go out and buy $5,000 worth of furniture to furnish their new house? And what happens to you as an agent when a deal's falling apart and everything's on fire? The rest of your day is shut because you're spending all day. I've heard people say, I spend all day on the phone with escrow. Really? You're not going to do anything to resolve that. And guess what? Your phone is not tied to your desk anymore. You can actually go out and do things and still be in contact. And I understand that's the problem, is that you see unforeseen things pop up and you're like, this is going to fall apart. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to work on this. I don't know how to function with this. That's where we need to talk about a systematic process. Where if things fall apart, yes, you need to reach out to escrow. Yes, you need to reach out to the lender. Yes, you need to reach out to your clients and the other agents. But you don't need to sit there all day and sulk about it. You get out there and continue to work. Because if that happens, everything falls apart. You're going to pass on some of that toxicity onto others. And that toxicity is when you come in the office, and what happens when someone has a deal that's falling apart. Everyone's deals are falling apart. Everyone's kind of having a rough day. All right, Kat, here's the next one. Nope. Okay. So one of the things is I want you guys to look at is in your processes. If you go back to the next slide. We'll send this off to you guys today, but look at this. And I'm not saying, hey, come to me and say, hey, I'm a pig agent. Don't do that. No, that's embarrassing for everyone involved. But one of the things I do want you to look at is honestly look at what you're doing. See if you can improve it. And you might not be able to change everything, but at least you know what needs to be improved. So did this make sense from the pigs and the cows down to this? Does it make sense? I know you guys at the very beginning, so you're like, I don't know where this guy's going. But that's what I want you guys to focus on, is on that. Okay? So, all right, thanks. So let's go into new list.